What's up, savvy expats? In a country where an overwhelming amount of people make less than $10 per day, you may wonder what the highest esteemed job positions make in the Philippines. That is why in today's video, we're not only going to reveal what the top 10 highest paying jobs are in the Philippines, but we're also going to compare each job's salary in the Philippines to how much that salary would be in the US. Alright, without wasting time, let's get into it. So kicking off this list, the number one highest paying job in the Philippines is a surgeon. On average, a surgeon in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 75,000 pesos to 265,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $1,500 to $3,500 per month. Man, 10 years of going through college to make that? Might as well hit the streets and deal a little something, am I right? No, I'm just messing around. In all seriousness, considering the fact that being a surgeon is such a notable job, it really doesn't seem like that much for a salary. To put it into perspective, the average surgeon in the US makes around $18,000 per month or $210,000 per year. And some surgeons in the US can even make up to $400,000 per year. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the average surgeon makes $60,000 annually, which, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal for the Philippines, but for most, you would expect more. As you all know, being a surgeon is a risky job with a long learning curve, hence why it's a prominent role. So based off of the salaries that I mentioned in this video, you can truly gauge how much Filipinos make. Because if a surgeon makes this much, you can imagine that your average Joe here in the Philippines makes much less. Nevertheless, this kind of salary in the Philippines can afford a local Filipino a great lifestyle. Moving on to the second highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a judge. On average, a judge in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 60,000 pesos to 220,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $1,300 to $4,400 per month. And yes, that is without taking bribes. If on the other hand you do, which happens to be quite common in the Philippines, then you can expect to make much more than a surgeon. Meanwhile, in the US, as you can see in this graph, judges make around $200,000 annually and up. That's at least $16,000 per month as a judge in the US. Once again, making anything over $1,000 per month in the Philippines is considered to be a distinguished job. So needless to say, Philippine judges do live a good lifestyle in this country. Now, for the third highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a lawyer. On average, a lawyer in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 50,000 pesos up to 180,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $1,000 to $3,600 per month. On the other hand, the average salary for a lawyer in the US is $10,500 per month or $125,000 annually. And there's many lawyers in the US that make much more than this. Now, as for a Philippine lawyer, they can make around $40,000 per year, which is considered to be on the high end for most lawyers here. Moving on to the fourth highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a bank manager. Of course, this position is not a walk in the park, as you're handed the responsibility of handling millions of dollars of funds and investments. With all this risk and high stakes involved, you may be wondering what a bank manager makes here. Well, a bank manager in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 50,000 pesos up to 170,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $1,000 to $3,400 per month. And so on the high end, we can expect that a bank manager can pull down $40,000 per year. And to put that into perspective, jobs in the US that earn the equivalent of $40,000 per year are correctional officers, therapists, carpenters, and head chefs. Meanwhile, as for a bank manager in the US, the typical salary is $160,000 per year. This can range from $83,000 annually at the lowest up to $260,000 annually at the highest. That said, if there's any place to be a bank manager, it should be in the US or Switzerland instead of the Philippines. Now, for the fifth highest paying job in the Philippines, that is a senior project IT manager. Of course, some sort of tech related job had to come in on this list, and depending on the company that you're working for, this could really be at the top of the list. That said, the average salary for an IT manager in the Philippines is 150,000 pesos per month or $3,000 per month. Annually, that's around $36,000 per year. Now, as for an IT manager in the States, their salary on average is $150,000 annually or $12,500 per month. And keep in mind that all of the positions in this category of information technology would all rank high on this list, especially as a data engineer. But for the sake of having diversity for this list, we're covering all different types of jobs. Now, for the 6th highest paying job in the Philippines, that is aircraft pilots. I don't have to mention how critical this job is. You have the lives of thousands of passengers in your hands, and you have to go through rigorous training to become a pilot. Or you can just watch Top Gun a few times and you're certified. But as for the average pilot salary in the Philippines, that would be around $2,600 per month or $31,000 per year. Now, if we're talking a pilot's pay in the US, the median salary would be $160,000 annually. And so the top 25% of pilots in the US make $210,000 per year, while the bottom 25% of pilots in the US make $90,000 per year. And just like the US, the minimum age to get your pilot's license in the Philippines is 17 years old, and in addition to that, you must also have at least 40 hours of training. Moving on to the 7th highest paying job in the Philippines, that is an orthodontist. Orthodontists in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 40,000 pesos up to 140,000 pesos per month, or in dollars, $800 to $2,800 per month. That means on the high end, Philippine orthodontists can make $33,000 annually. Now, as for the median salary for an orthodontist in the US, they can earn around $146,000 annually on average. Of that, the bottom 10% of American orthodontists earn $96,000 per year, while the top 10% of orthodontists in the US earn up to $105,000 per year. Moving on to the 8th highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a college professor. Shocker, right? As you may know, college is a huge deal in the Philippines. Ateneo, De La Salle, and the University of Santo Tomas are just a few of the most well-known colleges in the Philippines to name. That said, on average, a college professor in the Philippines can earn anywhere from 37,000 pesos up to 127,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $740 to $2,500 per month. So on the high end, a Philippine college professor can earn up to $30,000 per year. Now let's compare that to the median salary of a college professor in the US. On average, a college professor in the US earns $160,000 annually, with each salary depending on the field of teaching. For example, the highest paying education to teach is law. Now for the 9th highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a marketing director. Marketing directors are in charge of increasing the revenue of the business by, you guessed it, marketing. The average salary for a marketing director in the Philippines ranges from 27,000 to 95,000 pesos per month. In dollars, that's $500 to $1,900 per month. And I suppose this also depends on which company the marketing director is working for. But in terms of the salary for a marketing director in the US, the national average is $105,000 per year, or nearly $9,000 per month. Now for the 10th and final highest paying job in the Philippines, that is being a civil engineer. Civil engineers are responsible for designing, constructing, and maintaining major infrastructure projects. This includes roads, buildings, airports, sewers, and bridges. The average salary for a civil engineer in the Philippines is 70,000 pesos or $1,400 per month. That's around $17,000 annually. Now in the US, the average salary for a civil engineer is $88,000 annually. So as you can see, they make significantly more than Filipino civil engineers. So there you have it, Savvy Expats. That is the top 10 highest paying jobs in the Philippines. Bear in mind that the ranking of these jobs may vary, as some jobs may make less or more than what I mentioned. I also excluded the role of being a CEO because that highly depends on which company you're working for. If you enjoyed this video, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And so thank you for watching, Savvy Expats, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.